how to do cover songs legally, and this includes posting those cover songs on YouTube. The myths and what people get confused on, because I've just done this for so long. You gotta do it the right way, and the way that I'm going to walk you through. How to do cover songs legally in 2025. This is so important because sometimes cover songs get confused with sampling, with interpolation, and I've done this for a long time. I'm a lawyer of 10 years now, but I've been doing music and making music myself since my teens. I started learning classical music when I was 4. I love all of this, and what I can tell you is that cover songs are very powerful marketing tools. It is something to incorporate with what you do as a music creator. So with that being said, today I'm going to walk you through how to do cover songs legally, and this includes posting those cover songs on YouTube. Now, if you do need more help by the end of this video, you can go over to topmusicattorney.com. I have resources, free resources. I have a music business program you can go through. And if you want to be directed to hire an actual attorney, I got you there as well. We do know that doing cover songs, it's really powerful for marketing, because here's the thing. As original artists of original songs, we have to sell people on so many things. It's not just that hopefully they like the song, which is a whole separate creative piece. It's they have to like the song, and then they have to like the genre of music, and then the fan needs to fall in love with the singer's voice, and they need to fall in love with the production, the mixing, and the mastering. And so there's so many places that you can lose people. And so one way to kind of bridge the gap for purposes of marketing is to do a cover song. So cover songs, awesome, really great for the general algorithm. And the way I like to treat them is I use them as the gap fillers between the original songs that I do. I am also an independent artist. And so between the releases of my original songs, I'm going to do covers, because it's a way to get a lot of engagement from people who are in love with bands, right? Other bands, other artists. And then now you're playing someone's favorite song, and it just gives a new potential fan the opportunity to hear your voice, hear your production, hear your good stuff for the first time. So what I'm going to talk about through this segment is I'm going to talk about the cover song as it relates to the audio version, and then I'm going to talk about the cover song as it relates to the video. All right, so let's start with just the audio version itself. First and foremost, you may say, well, is it okay to do cover songs? And I've actually had someone ask this before, and they go, I've heard that it's illegal to do cover songs. That's not the case, okay? But let's clarify why someone might think that. And we'll start from what essentially a cover song is not. So a cover song is not sampling. When we think of sampling, we think of taking something from someone else's pre-recorded song. Okay, so this is going to be, we're listening to a Metallica song, and we use a portion of a guitar. We use a portion of a drum. We use a portion of a vocal, and we put it in our new song. That is sampling. There's also another category called interpolation. And interpolation comes up where you have someone who doesn't want to use any actual piece from the song, so it wouldn't be sampling. But they go, I want to redo this song. This song was such a huge hit in the 80s, and now I want to redo it, and I'm going to revamp it and give it some new, better words, but otherwise I'm really just redoing the song. You see major labels doing this all the time because it's a little bit of a shortcut. And we know it's a shortcut because it's a way to use something that was already a big hit, and you just kind of repackage it together for one of the new artists, and then it becomes another hit. So we have sampling, we have interpolation, and now we have cover songs. With sampling, with interpolating, you get licenses directly from the rights holders. Now with cover songs, the reason why we love it is that doing cover songs, you don't need to go and get a direct license from the rights holders. And so right now you're like, okay, this is good. And of course, if you're a band, if you are a musician, an artist, you can do cover songs legally, but you got to do it the right way, and the way that I'm going to walk you through. All right, so what is a cover song? I guess maybe let's put it this way. We'll have a little list of myths that I commonly have to answer when I'm giving you guys just consultations on how to do this. But one of them will be, well, what if I make my own version of a song, which generally, okay, we're thinking that this is a cover, because if you go with me, I do dark pop music. And so what I love to do is to take like a very happy sounding Disney song, and I've done covers that are dark pop covers. And so I am now re-envisioning them. And that's okay. I can do brand new production, okay? But we want to make sure we're using the same words, very important, and the same arrangement. So a common question I might get would be, well, I took the Disney song and I rearranged it, And so I put it in a different order. I put the chorus first, and then I put the verse and the second verse together for some reason. And then I did a double chorus. And so now it's the same parts, but it's put into a different arrangement. It is no longer a cover if you do that. And this is important because part of the analysis can be sometimes you guys will come to me and you'll say, well, I've done a cover, but what I did is I kept everything the same. I did my own rendition, but I changed all the words for the chorus. So instead of this melodic singy thing, I did a rap with my own rap on it. That's no longer a cover. So the framework we're thinking through this is it's a cover song so long as you're keeping the same arrangement and you're keeping the same lyrics. Very important, okay? If you are someone that is needing help in the music business, at the end of this video, you can check out topmusicattorney.com. I have courses, I have free stuff just to kind of get you started. If you do want to deep dive, if you do want to train with me, I always say go through my music business program, which is how to think like a record label, become a record label. And then if you do want to get into touch with me or one of my lawyers, we got you covered. But you can do your whole own production around it. So this is where you get to have a lot of creativity. Now, the reason we're allowed to do all this is because pursuant to 17 USC 115, so 115 of the Copyright Act, you have the ability to get what's called a compulsory mechanical license. Now, I'm going to simplify this for you. Hang tight with me for 2 seconds, okay? So pursuant to the Copyright Act, originally it had said, well, if you go get this compulsory license, which you can get from Harry Fox Agency, you can get it from Easy Song Licensing, super cheap. It means you don't have to go to Metallica and negotiate anything. You get it automatically, okay? And then these companies are in charge of paying out the rights holders. I'm like, oh my gosh, okay, great. So that's how it used to be. But there was an update because a lot of people didn't know about this and a lot of artists were not actually getting this license. And so pursuant to the Music Modernization Act, this was in 2018, there's a little update made. And they go, you know what? We're going to make the digital service providers, so the DSPs, we're going to make them go and get these mechanical licenses. So now it says in the Copyright Act that the DSPs are the ones that get it. So what does this mean for you? This means, because we're talking just about the audio version only. So this means when you want to do a cover song, 1, you're okay to do a cover song. 2, you can make it your own rendition, your own production, all good things. But keep in mind what I said. Make sure you use the same lyrics. Make sure you keep the same arrangement. But then when you put it on music platforms, you have to go get some special license. The answer is no. This is pursuant to US law. I want to clarify that because I know I have followers in different countries. What I'm speaking to is US law. So with that being said, we go, well, Spotify has to go and get this license. So all you need to do is just distribute your song, put it on music platforms, and the license covers streaming. Take a beat. Listen closely. If you are doing something to sell your music that is not streaming, such as we talk about direct to fan selling on your website, so digital downloads, we talk about CDs, we talk about selling vinyls. If you're doing something that is not just streaming the music on platforms like Spotify, platforms like Amazon, if you actually are going to download it, you do need to get a mechanical license still. So there is a caveat, okay? But for the majority of you watching right now, you're just going to put your song on streaming platforms, and so you're good to go. The music platforms are in charge of getting these licenses. They take a little share of the royalties. They pay it to the rights holders through the Mechanical Licensing Collective. You're good. All right? You're doing great. Hang tight with me because we're not to the video piece yet. The video piece is just as important as the audio. For the monetization and later, really, it's sync licensing. So we talk about all the time ways that you guys can make money from your music. And this includes cover songs too. But what happens is that, copyright and all these updates that happened were so that you could do your cover songs and then put your cover songs on music platforms. But no one made updates in regards to using your songs in video. So obviously, if you do a cover song, a whole big group of us like to do a music video, right? We want to do clips for social media. I mean, it's like part and parcel with releasing your song is that you're going to promote it. If you're going to promote it, there's going to be some kind of visual to it, right? So the wrinkle here is that everything I just told you on you're good to go with making your cover song, putting it on streaming platforms, DSPs pay, and do all the things with the Mechanical Licensing Collective. Great. Well, what about video? And the way that it is technically under the law is that you're supposed to go and get a sync license because we are syncing the audio to video. Does that make sense in any kind of way that you need to now go and figure out who to contact, to do your Metallica cover? Well, no. And so again, we had all these companies that were like, all right, this doesn't make sense. We got to figure something out because everyone's just doing their cover songs and they're just putting it on YouTube. So what record labels in particular did. The rights holders, they're the ones that ended up going and doing direct deals with YouTube, right? With Facebook, Instagram, right? AKA Meta, TikTok. So they've gone and done direct licensing deals. And they go, what we're going to do is that when the songs pop up on your platform, we are going to lay claim to the cover song so we get paid the monetization. So we're not going to do strikes anymore, which is what they used to do. It was, scary to get a strike for sure. What's happening with the video aspect doesn't technically comply with copyright law. But practically speaking, the workaround is that most of the time, you're okay just to put your video on these platforms because there are deals in place directly between the labels and the platforms. And we're like, okay, that's good, right? So at least, people are not getting sued for copyright infringement. They're not getting strikes on their videos. So there is a workaround. This is the general good news. So these are the practical considerations. So we go, all right, we started with audio. We feel comfortable. We know we can do our own versions. We do, in fact, own our own versions because one of the common questions that come up is in regards to cover songs, can I register my song for copyright protection? And the answer is yes. The way that it works is that you just have to make sure to disclaim when you file, and you got to tell the Copyright Office, don't beat up your microphone. You tell the Copyright Office, I did this cover of the Metallica song, and I don't own the underlying composition. And then you put the names of who actually does. So the good news is that you can register. I've done music catalog sales in the millions of dollars selling cover songs. And so everything that I'm talking about of just the due diligence of getting the licenses for the video pieces or otherwise not doing it because there are these workarounds, this is what is practically happening. Now, on the last video I did on this, someone comically left a comment just being like, look at the dumpster fire of copyright law and what's happening with music. I think that's fair to a degree, but the good news is that this is practically how it works. Now, what I want to kind of wrap this with is specifically the myths and what people get confused on, because I've just done this for so long, and I wrote out my notes here because this just comes up so often. One myth will be, well, if it's okay to do a cover song, and it's okay to do it so long as I do the same arrangement as the original, if I put two together, right, on one song, so it's a compilation. So I have one separate cover song, I have another separate cover song, and I put it as one long song. Is it okay? And can I go and get one of these mechanical licenses that you're talking about? And the answer is no. And why would that be, right? The answer is because, well, technically the arrangement is not the actual arrangement of the song anymore. The arrangement is the entire song, and then you have a whole other song at the end. So a compilation of two, nope, you're gonna have some trouble with that. Another question in myth really is, so long as I use just the same parts in the song, I can rearrange it, and kind of put my little creative spin on it. No, you cannot. You have to keep the same arrangement. One of my clients got into such a situation on this because the arrangement had been like 5 minutes previously, and to try to just make it a little more digestible, they adapted it to a different genre of music. It was pretty cool, but they cut it down pretty significantly. And so part of our analysis is going in, like, as copyright attorneys and just being like, look, have you changed and modified the song so it really is no longer a cover? Yes or no? All right, so that's another myth. You generally want to keep the same arrangement, keep the same lyrics. Another myth is, what if I give credit? If we give credit, I don't own this, and you put a little disclaimer in the description, I'm okay, it's not copyright infringement. The answer is putting a little disclaimer that you are intentionally doing something you know that you may not have the rights, but you're not claiming ownership. Do you see where I'm going with this? So the logic behind that is, no, I don't think it's going to make any difference if you say this is who I got it from. But at least what I'm telling you is that the state of copyright law is you do want to get the sync license. The majority of people don't or can't because it's too expensive. And so there's kind of this group think of, you'll just go on YouTube and be like, hey, is there like a bunch of Metallica covers of this song? Have they been taken down? Or is it likely that the rights holder is collecting and monetizing because they have an actual relationship with YouTube, right? All right, and lastly, another myth is, if I only change one section of the lyrics, is that okay? I used this example one time because I love the song Blue by Eiffel 65, just one of the best songs. And it was actually interpolated, funny enough, in recent years. And so they took the same song, they did a new rendition, they put new lyrics to it. And I've done a cover of that song previously. And where normally they say, I have a girlfriend, they have a girlfriend, and she is so blue. When I did mine, I said, I have a boyfriend and he is so blue. And so we can analyze that and say, well, if we like materially change the song and so it's no longer a cover song, I go, well, that's pretty de minimis. It's so small, we're probably okay. So sometimes we do have to get granular. Sometimes we do need to kind of analyze it and just to see. But what I want you to know is here's the good news. Recap. It's okay to do cover songs. And not only is it okay to do cover songs, but copyright law has actually been updated to cover you so that when you do your cover song and you put it on the music streaming platforms, you actually don't have to get any kind of license. When people say, well, what about DistroKid? If you distribute through DistroKid, they will say, hey, if you're doing a cover song, we can help you get the mechanical license. That's nice. You don't have to do that. Really important piece there. You don't have to do that. But caveat, if you are selling your music directly through digital downloads, you're doing CDs, you're doing vinyls, that's different. And then you do want to get the mechanical license, okay? If you do need to get a mechanical license, personally, I use Easy Song Licensing. You can use Harry Fox Agency. Either one is fine. So that is the audio version. When it comes to the video version, generally speaking, when people do their cover songs and they put them as videos and they put them on YouTube, there are these licenses that have been negotiated directly, and you'll likely get a claim on your video saying, hey, Universal is collecting 100% of your monetization, which is a whole other thing. So if you found this valuable, please be sure, give it a big thumbs up, and I will see you on the next one.